Bryson is a newly converted Christian, and he doesn't know how to approach practically living out his worship towards God, especially in regards to music. So he can either come up with his own opinion about Christian music and just pick what he thinks is right and what works, or he could follow a famous pastor or teacher, or he could research it out for himself, then make an educated decision. Surely, there are potential pros and cons to each approach. Comment below what you think is the best option. For some of the purposes mentioned above was exactly why a group of 4 men came together to write Worship by the Book. They are as follows: D.A Carson, Mark ASHTON, R. Kent Hughes, and Tim Keller. Each contributor brings their expertise to the book. Surely it could be argued that all of these men are credible authors, and most viewers have probably heard of Carson and Keller because of the coalition. One of the big things you'll notice about this book is that these men do not confine Christian worship to just music. There is so much more involved. Want the book in a nutshell? Well, their thesis is this: always keep worship God-focused and the edification of the church at the forefront of our minds. Anyways, this book focuses on matters related to worship practice, so it tries to be very practical. Carson says, worship is the proper response of human beings to God, precisely because he is worthy and delightfully so. From there, Carson analyzes how after Adam's fall, our worship is a response to God's redemptive work, how all worship is God-centered, and how Christian worship is Christ-centered. Then he claims that Christian worship is Trinitarian, and that it embraces both adoration and action. Mark ASHTON brings the practical section of the book by approaching worship from the Anglican High Church tradition. He says prayer has a central role in keeping the Bible at the heart of a nation's life. He believes that all worship leaders should analyze their services and sermons and ask if they are biblical, accessible, and balanced. Then R. Kent Hughes steps in to say that the church has gone into free fall as churches only seem to care about what humanly looks like it's working or having more people or bigger buildings, while all along people have been de-biblicizing corporate worship. He says there are 6 distinctives of Christian worship. It is God-centered, Christ-centered, Word-centered, consecrated, wholehearted, and reverent. Of course, he goes into further detail about each, but he says these 6 distinctives must be present in every worship service, even if the forms of worship differ according to our culture. If any are not present, we are hindering our worship. He argues that music must serve the preaching, not distract from it, and that music participation is required of every worshiper. Tim Keller writes from the Reformed tradition, and he quickly states his displeasure with the simplistic worship wars debate that promotes only one style of service attached to a particular culture. Reformed worship can most simply be defined as the way John Calvin put it: God's grace comes to us as a word to believe, rather than as a deed to be performed. Worship's goal is to bring people face to face with the transcendent God. The rhythm and flow of the service reenacts the gospel. Keller breaks worship down into 3 main sections. Number 1, praise. Number 2, renewal. And 3, commitment. And Keller follows that pattern in every worship time that he and his church has. Something to comment about below is the fact that these men disagree on who can be a musician in the church. Can an unsaved person perform or conduct any type of music or song, or does it have to be a Christian? Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.